Episode 4092, Marriage is the Ultimate Stanley Cup.
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Christiane Wargo.
Happy day. I hope you're having a fabulous start to your weekend. I cannot believe that we are basically mid-June. Congratulations, you made it. We're going to be here kicking off the last 6 months of 2026. But before we get there, we got to make sure we've got a strong marriage. Marriage is the ultimate Stanley Cup. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already even had the opportunity, you'll want to head on over to createyournow.com where you can learn more and to sign up for the Kisses newsletter, the Keep It Simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. Well, this episode is brought to you by AIM, Inspiring Connection and Community. All right, well, I'm going to take you in for a ride because we are going to Mama Sports Center. Oh, yes, marriage. It's important, right? It really is. If you said I do to somebody, now you're we do. Marriage is the ultimate Stanley Cup, a hard-fought victory that only comes to those willing to play the toughest game of their lives. Have you been watching the Stanley Cup? It's pretty exciting. It really has been. But you know, when you look at marriage, right, it's not just about feeling in love and It's about showing up day after day, battling through unexpected setbacks, and trusting your teammate when the pressure's crushing. Like a hockey team, right, on the ice, chasing the biggest prize in sports, the Stanley Cup. Couples who win this game know that every pass, every hit, and every moment of grit counts towards the ultimate goal, a goal that marriage lasts. So I want you to think about that hockey team. Okay, because it's kind of fun. You see, Las Vegas and Carolina, they're going after it. Carolina's leading now 3-2. So I'm like, next game could be the end, right? You just don't know. Or Vegas has to step up and they have to tie it, and then it goes to the final seventh game, which is always exciting, right? But when you've got those hockey teams that are chasing the Stanley Cup, they're not just skating around for fun, maybe in the off season with their kiddos. But you see every pass they make, every shot they take, every shift they endure under brutal pressure is coordinated, intentional, and has high stakes. It's a high-risk game. Missing a play can cost them a chance at the big prize, the Stanley Cup. Yet despite bruises and setbacks and hurt arms and shoulders and all of this and teeth that, well, they're not there any longer, right? Don't forget the fatigue. They still push forward, leaning on each other, trusting their skills and instincts, and adjusting their game plan as they go. Guess what? Marriage works the same way. It isn't about being perfect or avoiding conflict. It's about learning how to play together through the chaos. When you hit rough patches, the arguments, the disappointments, the external stressors, those are the big hits on the ice. You don't fold, though. You support, you strategize. You roll up your sleeves to push through. I mean, think about this. We got the comeback play, right? A hockey team might be trailing during this game 3-0 at the end of the second period. But they come back with this fierce third period that wins them the game. In marriage, that's like weathering a particularly bad season. Maybe a financial strain, a change in your career, an illness, a loss. And it's through that you emerge closer and stronger through teamwork and resilience. You come together. You don't live in the setback. You say, we're planning for the comeback. And then you've got those line changes and shifting roles. Have you really watched a hockey game and not to just root your team on, but watched how they set things up? Okay, so I like to strategize on things, right? I'll watch a commercial and then I'm thinking, oh, that's kind of cute. But wait, why did they do that? Why did they use that color? Listen to the music. I sit there and I analyze things. I know a little bit crazy, but just bear with me here for a moment. I want you to analyze a hockey team, right? And as they're out on the ice, they're not just going from one side to the other, right? They're not just going from one net to the other net going, well, I got to get that puck. That's all I'm after. It's not just a race to the squirrels, right? It's not that at all. There is a reason to the madness and how they play on the ice. And hockey teams rotate players. Have you ever noticed that? They come in and you're like, well, he's just only been on the ice for like 90 seconds, maybe. Why? To keep the energy high, to keep him moving. I'm telling you, couples, we got to shift too. We got to shift our roles and responsibilities. Sometimes one partner may lead on finances while the other is on parenting, or one takes a step back professionally to support the other one. You got to shift. You got to be flexible. And flexibility keeps momentum alive. It keeps the energy up. It keeps you moving forward. It keeps you what? Oh, wow, we actually got a marriage. Because you're doing it together, right? You're better together. And what about the penalty kill? I know you could kind of think of a penalty box, but this is the penalty kill. You know, you've got a team who's shorthanded. They defend harder and they play smarter to avoid conceding a goal. They're like going after it. We got to do this. I mean, I can hear it now. And it is loud. If you've ever been to a hockey game, and if you haven't, I would encourage you to go just for the experience. I mean, seriously. And if you are married, take your spouse. Like, okay, go together. And then play this episode, and then as you watch the game, you might see it a little bit differently. But marriage's penalty kills moments are the times you face crisis, the disagreements that threaten the relationship, the tough life changes, the challenges that come up where you're like, we're just not going to make it. No, you are. Because how you defend your bond in those moments determines whether you survive or lose ground. Whether you get your teeth knocked out. And in marriage, it'd be more like your heart torn up. Marriage is the ultimate Stanley Cup, and it can be strengthened to the point of winning it all. That is your kiss to keep it simple strategy. Play to win it all. You have to be in it to win it. You can't just sit back and be like, yeah, I'm just going to see what happens. When he comes home, yeah, if I feel like cooking dinner, I'll cook dinner. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll let him take care of the kids tonight. I mean, you know, you can't sit there and be like, I'm not going to participate. If you want an incredible marriage, you got to be a part of the team. And a lot of times in marriages, you only got one that's doing the work. Remember, it takes one to start, two to tango. Okay? It's teamwork. You're better together. And that takes commitment and dedication. So what does it look like in real life? If you're going to bring hockey home, then, you know, how can we actually have an incredible sport of marriage that leads you to the Stanley Cup? Number one, build relentless teamwork. Relentless teamwork. You got to build it. Trust isn't a given. It's built in the daily passes, the small acts of kindness, the honest talks, the dependable follow through. Like you're actually going to do what you said you're going to do. If you don't have each other's backs in the trenches, you're not going to win the long game. You won't. You will lose. But it's all about the win. You want to win it all. You want that Stanley Cup. So build that relentless teamwork. Be on the same team. Don't sit there and be like, oh, man, I just like to knock his teeth out sometimes. Oh, I know you've thought it. Don't tell me you haven't. And maybe it's not his teeth, but maybe it's something else. All right. But we'll leave that one for another episode. You got to be better together. And you've got to have that mindset and that heart, connecting the heart and the mind that says, you know what? We're going to build it together. And if you're like, well, Christiane, I just don't think, my spouse gets it. All right, fine. It takes one to start, but two to finish. So you can take the lead and then bring him along. Number two, communicate like pros under pressure. Guess what? No one's perfect on the ice. You're going to fall down. You're going to slip. You're going to lose your hockey stick, right? But great teams talk through plays. They share intel and they keep each other alert. Couples must master the honest, clear communication too, especially when it's hard, especially when you're down, especially when you're stressed and things aren't going as hunky-dory as you think they're going to be. Speak up before issues snowball and listen to understand, not just respond. When was the last time you actually listened to your spouse and what they said instead of they started a sentence, hear me out here, because you're already thinking what I'm going to say, aren't you? You are. I'm catching you in midstream. But we do that to our spouses. I know. I can finish his sentences. It's not your job to finish his sentences. It's his job to. So be quiet. And I speak that loudly. Why? Because I have to do the same thing. Women are really good at that, finishing the sentences. Now, the men will think of it more on the negative aspect of they're just nagging me, and this is going to be her response. Okay, so it's kind of a little bit of a reverse role here, not in a positive sense. So women, I get your side, but men, I see your side too. So we both, as in male, female, we need to shut our mouths and listen to understand, not just respond. Don't wait and think, oh, okay, 6 words in, I know what he's going to say. I don't care if he says it. I don't care if he says it another 1,000 times in your lifetime. Let him finish his full sentence before you sit there and go blah, 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 and vomit all over him. Okay? Not literally, figuratively. Communicate like pros under pressure. And finally, number 3, keep adjusting the game plan. What worked in season 1 might not work in season 5. Life is going to throw you curveballs. It does, right? You're going to have more storms to weather than you will have rainbows to gather. It just is what it is. And so you have to be willing to say, okay, I know growth demands that I adapt. Okay, I got it. Growth demands that you adapt. Okay. You got to adapt your parenting styles, your financial goals, even your lifestyle habits, right? We don't control the world. The world doesn't control you either. But here's the thing. Be careful. Stubbornness is a quick way to lose the cup. You want that Stanley Cup. You want to have that marriage. So don't sit here and let your ego get in the way. Don't be stubborn as if, oh yeah, you can be determined, but don't be stubborn. I know, I speak from experience. We all like control. Own it. But then make the change and adjustments that you need to. Flexibility, again, adaptability is your best offense. You got to keep adjusting the game plan. Why? Because you're going to grow. You're always growing. And if not, well, that's for another episode. Because you need to be growing. God created us to grow. Grow as individuals, grow as a couple. And so if you're not growing, then you've kind of gone stagnant. And it's like, are you alive? But again, we're going to leave that one for another episode because we could be here a very, very long time. And I know you got plans for this weekend. You may have got plans to watch the Stanley Cup game number 6. But make no mistake, marriage is brutal, right? And it's a demanding game. But like hockey's greatest trophy, it's the hardest earned prize with the sweetest victory. If you commit it and you're like, I'm going to love, like those hockey players love the game and how they play on the ice for that Stanley Cup, the most coveted trophy and honor to have. If you're willing to do that, your marriage doesn't just survive the season. It wins for a lifetime. So get ready and go after your prize, right? It's time for you to have the Stanley Cup in your marriage. Go in peace, be present, be incredible, be you. I love you so very much. I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Blessings, hugs, and lots of love. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a glorious, blessed day. Bye-bye.
Feeling inspired, ready to train for life and love your journey? Visit createyournow.com for more incredible resources to help you along the way. We'll see you next time on Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie. And remember, always be sure you consult your physician before beginning any health and fitness plan.